When it comes to faith in the divine, one of the most important qualities of a true believer in the oneness of existence, i.e., Tawheed, i.e., God, is that of forgiveness. Being able to forgive is a virtuous quality that helps an individual deal with trauma, anger, resentment, envy, jealousy, greed, pain, etc., etc., etc. Some people become emotional, immature, and angry. This is the part of the lower human nature that we must overcome. It's a part of life that we have to struggle and learn how to deal with. We must learn to keep our egos in check. We must spend less time judging others and more time judging ourselves. So focus on forgiving others. Let us examine our own actions and beliefs, identify problematic areas, and apply root cause solutions. Focusing on the symptoms will never bring you peace. Forgiveness is a part of the purification process. When we purify ourselves and achieve internal peace, then this state of being will radiate outwards and improve our external reality, eventually having a positive effect on those around us, including our family, our friends, and our entire society. Forgiveness is indeed a godly quality. Forgiveness is a critical element on the path to healing the spirit, and that includes forgiveness of oneself as well as others. People who do not forgive remain forever controlled by their ego in a state of anger. The ego is the adversary inside of us, and thus they will be blocked from realizing their higher or more godly spiritual nature. Now, if we don't forgive others, how do we expect God to forgive us? Thus, you may not know that there is a common thread of moral and virtuous qualities referred to in many of the major monotheistic and Vedic faith traditions. It is my belief that it's more important that we unite on that which we hold in common rather than seek chaos and division by focusing on what separates us. Thus, I wanted to share with you some verses from various scriptures from the different faith traditions. First up, we have here in the Holy Quran, in Surah 42, verse 42, and I'm using the Yusuf Ali translation. It's stated here, quote, "The recompense for an injury is an injury equal thereto in degree, but if a person forgives and makes reconciliation, his reward is due from Allah. For Allah loveth not those who do wrong." And by Allah, we just mean God. So here the emphasis is to forgive, just like how God is forgiven. In Arabic, we say Ar-Rahim, which means the merciful. God is the merciful. Thus, we should strive to be like God and be merciful. If we move to the New Testament, we have Christ, the Messiah, Yeshua. He says, quote, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy." And this is from the famous Sermon on the Mount, which is in Matthew chapter 5, verse 7. And I'm using the NASB, the New American Standard Bible, for my references. He states in Matthew chapter 6, verse 14, quote, "For if you forgive other people for their offenses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." If we move on to the Baha'i faith, you have Abd al-Baha'i in the Promulgation of Universal Peace on page 92. He says, quote, "Love the creatures for the sake of God and not for themselves. You will never become angry or impatient if you love them for the sake of God. Humanity is not perfect. There are imperfections in every human being, and you will always become unhappy if you look toward the people themselves. But if you look toward God, you will love them and be kind to them. For the world of God is the world of perfection and complete mercy. Therefore, do not look at the shortcomings of anybody. See with a sight of forgiveness." If we move on to Hinduism, in the Mahabharata, in Book 3, the Vanaparva, which is section 29. Quote, "Forgiveness is virtue. Forgiveness is sacrifice. Forgiveness is the Vedas. Forgiveness is the Shruti. The Shruti means that which is heard. Forgiveness protecteth the ascetic merit of the future. Forgiveness is asceticism. Forgiveness is holiness. And by forgiveness is it that the universe is held together." If we move forward to Sikhism, in the holy book, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, Quote, with each and every breath, constantly remember the Lord. He himself shall forgive you according to his will. This brings me finally to the pious Druze Shaykh Zainuddin Abdul Ghaffar Taqiuddin, who emphasizes, quote, bring your fellow men together, praise their virtues, spread their good deeds, forgive them their defects, bear their faults, and think favorable of them. You'll notice in everything you heard, the constant theme is forgiveness. Either we are being told to forgive or to be merciful, that forgiveness is a positive virtue, or that God is forgiving. Thus, the lesson of the day, no matter what is going on in your life, is to forgive and let go, to free yourself and move on, enabling you to elevate to higher and higher levels of knowledge. The Druze teachings themselves emphasize that the soul itself is traveling from one level of knowledge to another. We are full of potential, and thus our goal is to realize that potential and live in perfect love. So make sure you go out and forgive.